Welcome to It Takes Two with CU Cinephiles. This is the show where one of us brings a movie that they love or know a lot about to someone who hasn't seen it. So this week, James is showing me one of his favorite movies.
Yeah, so this week we're going to talk about Harmony Korine's Gummo. I picked it because it's a bit weird. Harmony Korine has a reputation for Spring Breakers, his most recent Beach Bum, but people don't really go back and watch his early career that much, like Kids or Gummo, and I think Gummo's a really interesting movie and there's a lot to say about it. So yeah, I want to hear what you thought of it.
I'm so glad that you showed this to me because I really loved it. I wasn't expecting to love it as much as I did, especially after watching the first 10 minutes. It's a kind of a brutally, almost incomprehensible film. It's a lot of what is close to documentary footage mixed with very, very loose narrative footage. There are really only 2 or 3 actors in the whole film. The rest are just kind of natives of, I read about this, it's around Nashville, the suburbs of Nashville where Harmony Korine grew up, although it's set in Ohio.
Xenia, Ohio.
Xenia, which has been was recently hit by a hurricane, I believe. Tornado.
Right, and so the town is destroyed and it's rural America, and so it's like the fallout of this. I heard about this movie, and then 6ix9ine made a song with the title.
Yeah, this is not about
this is not about the 6ix9ine song, but yeah. So I heard about it, and then I had heard about Harmony Korine, and then so I looked up movies that I could start with. I watched Kids, which was his breakout film that he wrote the screenplay for when he was 17 or 18. And then he went on and made this, and I think I was hooked when Bunny Boy was dancing on the bridge and the woman singing about her rooster.
Little dog goes bow wow, little hen goes cluck cluck, little pig goes mm-mm, little duck goes quack quack, little guinea potterack, but my rooster goes cock-a-doodle-doo, doodle-doo, doodle-doo.
And there was just something so oddly beautiful about that credits sequence that I wanted to see what they were going to do with the rest of the movie. And it's completely non-narrative. I mean, there is a through line, there are events that happen, but the editing especially, I know Harmony Korine in interviews said that he wanted to progress the field of filmmaking. And he was like, we've done the same thing since Griffith and making narrative movies. And he, being a young person, was like, I'm going to do whatever the hell I want and do something else.
There are lots of sequences in this movie where they shot it with multiple different types of cameras on different types of footage. So there are moments where I suppose Harmony Korine is loosely interviewing some of the natives of this Ohio town, and they're talking about, there's an albino woman who talks about what kind of guys she wants to sleep with. There is, a family talking about their relationship to African Americans in the community, which is
that is a hard scene.
It's a hard scene to watch. But that's also mixed in with kind of the more formal narrative sequences where it follows 2 boys who are kind of products of this kind of chaotic community as they kind of wander around. They make money by shooting cats and I guess selling them to the local butcher
who sells them on to the Chinese restaurant in town. I think what is really striking about this movie is that it's showing all these people with contemptible beliefs, but it never condemns them. It never you watch that scene when they're talking about how racist they are basically. And there's another scene where it's showing you the toxic masculinity of the town, where all the guys are drunk and shirtless in the house and just smashing stuff, because that's what men do, pretending that it's other people.
Wrestling with chairs.
Right,
yeah.
And it just comes across as pathetic. But then there's scenes when the 2 boys are sitting there getting high on glue, and one's talking about his brother, how his brother moved to the city and is a woman now, and doesn't make a big deal of it, and just treats them as a person. And there's something really transfixing about that I can't put into words, because you don't see that kind of perspective in a lot of film, especially American film in the current millennium. Like, there's a lot of social statement movies, but this one seems like it's saying something without saying anything.
Right. It's kind of just letting things play out, which is so heartbreaking. It's also, not gonna lie, my skin was crawling for a couple sequences in this film. In particular, there are some really disgusting interiors of people's homes.
Like when they take the picture frame off the wall and all the bugs crawl out.
And I was actually reading this, maybe we read the same interview. There's an interview with Harmony Korine and Werner Herzog where they're talking about that. And Harmony Korine said that for some of those sequences, his crew actually asked to have hazmat suits on while they were in people's homes filming, which he thought was really, really rude to his subject material, which I do agree with him on that. And so apparently it was just him and his director of photography in those homes by themselves wearing their Speedos to spite the rest of the crew.
That sounds like Harmony Korine, I believe it. I did want to talk about a few sequences. There is a section in the middle that kind of loses me. I start to lose interest with the film. And I think it starts when the small boy's mom goes downstairs and starts tap dancing as he's lifting weights.
I love that.
There's something about that that just feels really phony. It doesn't feel like it fits in. Like, there are scenes that are really artificial, like with Bunny Boy, but they're deliberate, and then there are ones that feel really verite. And that scene falls in the center, where it's like hard to believe. And then Harmony Korine delivers an absolutely horrible performance where he's drunk with the little person,
right,
pretending to be a gay man.
Right.
And then immediately it catches me again when they're wrestling chairs.
Right.
But there's like 5 minutes in the middle where I'm like, why am I watching this again? And then that scene happens and I'm invested.
I actually really like the scene you're talking about with the mother and the smaller boy. By the way, that boy looks just so iconic. His face is on the poster, very, very bizarre looking person. But he's with his mother. They're both actors. That woman is a famous actress. And I just think there's something so poetic about them being in the basement surrounded by their just absolute pile of crap. Cultural artifacts are all over the place. The boy is pretending to lift weights, and his mother finds tap dancing shoes.
That were his father's, right?
Right, and she has a small anecdote about the father wanting to marry Marlene Dietrich in another life. I think that's just so poetic in a way. I really enjoyed that scene, but I understand why it kind of takes you out of the rest of the movie. I can totally respect that. Well, I just want to say thank you for showing this to me. I really, really enjoyed it. It makes me really want to check out Spring Breakers and The Beach Bum now.
I can't believe you haven't seen Spring Breakers.
I know.
I think that's the next one to go to. Beach Bum, it was okay. It was McConaughey being like cartoon McConaughey. But I'm glad you liked it. It's one of the movies that I've watched again and again, and not many people watch it or can sit through it all the way. But I think when you do, there's something, it's a poetic realist movie. I think it's really significant, especially from a person so young, and I would recommend it.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. But that's it for us. See ya.